welcome to this week's episode of Do Dope Shit.
What's my shot? Is this me?
Both of them are.
Well, who you talking about? What's up?
Actually, we're going to start off with the first question, guys. So, can you explain to us exactly what Sweats and Suits is?
Introduce yourself.
Well, introduce yourself first.
I'm said normally in the sweats, but I got on jeans and shit. I can say shit, right? Because it's do dope shit.
Yeah.
That's a fact. Okay.
Curse all you want.
Normally I'm set in the sweats, but I'm rocking jeans today. One half of Sweats and Suits podcast.
It's your boy Easy, aka the baby daddy with the good hair, aka Mr. Handsome, aka Pool House E. I ain't gonna do all my AKAs today, but
Two-tone.
You can add that for
okay.
For right now, because I always believe in evolving, so I don't believe in being complacent. But right now, we're just two average guys, humble. Let's just talk about everyday situations, current events, sex, relationships, fuck shit, women, anything.
Plenty fuck shit, but it's
Plenty
funny.
fuck shit. Like, say that twice. He's a lot more humble than I am.
Facts.
We kind of them niggas just trying to make waves in this podcast game, man. Like, I think we're off to a hell of a start. I can see us going way further. We are just two guys, and I think that's what makes our podcast special.
Mm-hmm.
We speak from we're average guys, but we come from two different situations. Him, a single man, you know what I'm saying? Me, I'm married. I speak from that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of that is past tense, but as far as stories go, unless I'm telling a story about my wife, which I don't mind doing either, I'm very open. Mm-hmm. She's been on the show, so that's pretty cool.
She be in the background, like in the mix.
No, she talk her shit, man. And she supported me every step of the way. So, we're a podcast that from Milwaukee, born and raised. And just, doing our thing, man.
I'm pretty sure you guys have heard about them. Like,
if you ain't heard us, you heard of us.
There's no.
I mean, I feel like how Seth said, like, you guys are really making waves in the city of Milwaukee. Like, not even in the city. Like, we were talking off camera how they're known like Indianapolis, Houston, so they are making waves. So, like. Yeah. Really doing it big for the podcast.
We got a good reach, man. We got people, different podcasts, and on the East Coast that mess with us, West Coast, with the Comcast and the Buffet Boys out west. Down in Houston,
Buffet Boys.
Yeah, down in Houston, we got Egos and Opinions, who are Weave and Ivy. Ivy being from Louisiana, Weave being from Milwaukee, so it was easy to link up with them. And being real cool with them is what helped our reach. Mm-hmm. And like I said, man, I'm trying to be cool with everybody, man. I want to work with every podcast we can.
Definitely. Like, building that relationships is like gonna get you guys to the place where you need to be. Gonna get you to the finish line before everybody else.
Absolutely. Like I said, man, hey, I want to see everybody win. I just want to get there first.
All right, so we're gonna move on to the next question. Explain to us your journey and why you started Sweats and Suits podcast.
I talk too fucking much. Basically,
Facts.
I'm the type of person that love a conversation. Mm-hmm. Love a good debate. Love to hear what people think about stuff. I like picking at people's minds. So I felt like a podcast was something that I've listened to. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I've been on podcasts for like 3 years now.
Yeah.
So when the opportunity, or I thought about starting my own, and I realized it didn't take much, I was like, oh, fuck it. Let me just try it. Wanted to actually start way sooner, but I said at the first of the year, I'm just gonna jump out there and do it. Holla at my boy Easy. He's been my best friend for 15, 16 years. Yeah. So it was easy to do a show with him because, hell, we know each other's story. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? We got stories together. We done shit, like ignorant shit, from the dumbest of the dumb to the wildest of the wild. Like, it's been my nigga, my road dog.
I'm surprised I'm still saved.
Like,
you are?
Right. So the journey to get here basically was like, it started with an idea, manifested into a pilot, which, we put out there. Seemed like we got a lot of people taking to it. And the more we did, the better we got. And we just kept going and kept going. So the journey's been a fun one. I mean, it's been a trying one at times. You never know the type of shit you go through behind the scenes. But you just gotta push through it.
I'm really surprised that he asked me to do the podcast in the first place because I'm a real shy person, if you really don't know me. And I really don't talk a lot unless I really know you. So I like to survey the scene until I can pretty much just open myself up around you. So when he asked me to do it, I'm like, I don't know how this is going to work, but fuck it, he need me. So we started, January?
Yeah, January 7th.
We're rolling ever since.
I mean, Eric is one of those dudes that if you know him, you know him.
Right.
It could be the life of the party. He could really talk to you like a motherfucker. But, you know, I felt like this was his way to really open up. And it was funny because a lot of our first compliments and critiques was like, yo, Eric is really open. Like, this nigga is a fool. So it was kind of cool to get...
If you really
it was kind of cool to hear the feedback that he got. Like, people used to me being boisterous.
Right.
Talking, but to hear it come from him, man.
And it's weird that like Eric even said that because from the podcast you couldn't tell at all.
Yeah, I'm a totally different person when I come on the show, but when that shit go off, I mean, unless you catch me, I'm really not saying too much.
He chilling. And that's kind of dope. That's the mystique of Eric and shit.
Right.
Hey, I got legend.
So, can you guys explain, you know, what was the most challenging thing about running Sweats and Soup podcast?
For me, just juggling the schedule. Being a full-time father, full-time, working dad, to being a musician, to being a friend, to being a son helping his mom out around the house when she called me and needed. It's just the fact you gotta schedule all this stuff and try to balance your agenda accordingly to make this work.
Right.
So for me, it's been scheduling and just pretty much opening up about my personal stuff, especially episode 16. If you haven't heard, go listen to that.
My nigga got tortured.
I had to stop like halfway through that episode. I was like,
I remember my guy said he played it and he had to walk out the room as it was going on. And he said he just kept walking past the room like, oh, it's not over.
But when Eric went silent on the shit, it was like,
see, and that was okay. So we've never.
I was like, Steph, you ain't shit.
Listen, now.
I know he agreed to it, though.
No, let me clear this air. Because what a lot of people don't know, behind the scenes of that episode, besides the live, so when we go live, you can kind of see his energy. Yeah. What a lot of people did not see was there was a lot of subtle shit Eric was doing while that episode was going on. And it was like, I'm the type of person that I'm not gonna bite my tongue. Right. He starts to throw a jab, or he was starting to like say something, but he would cut back. I'm like, no, fuck that. And then once it had already went there, like that episode was not supposed to be about none of that. Yeah. The episode had a total, like we had totally different bullet points. Show notes and everything. And none of that got touched. It really just flowed. That's our highest rated episode. Yeah, y'all got like 200 listens like the first day, right? Like 250 in the first day. Yeah. Yeah. Right, and it's still growing. It's at like 6:30. Like people are, and it's right now. I guess this would be somewhat of a signature show. It was very honest. I actually got backlash from that show that I didn't even know about till later. But it was a very honest and open show. Yeah. Like even from the standpoint of me and my wife, a lot of people got to see how open our conversations are and how I always got the question, how can you talk like that on a podcast? You're married and you ain't doing too much. Like, dude, these are conversations I have at home. Right. Like this is mind. If you could be a fly on the wall, my nigga, talk about everything. There's not a thing we don't talk about. So it in that sense, I guess to go back to the original question, for me, I guess the most trying thing was consistency. Never wanted to let up, never wanted to miss a record, never wanted to miss an opportunity to drop something. Determination, like staying focused, staying with it. Like, you know, there are times you feel burnt out, there are times you feel like quitting, there are times you feel like, is it worth it? And then you gotta look back to see how far you've come. And that's a real eye-opener for me every time. And then just that moment when you're about to feel like, man, this shit ain't worth it, you'll get that message like, damn, y'all funny. Y'all got me through the day. Or, you know, I listened to y'all this morning, why can't y'all have a morning show? it's shit like that make me feel like, damn, like people are fucking with us. Don't stop.
Right.
This is how I know how committed I knew he was. So after the first couple episodes, I was damn near like, fuck it, let's just go bi-weekly. It's every week shit. Okay. But no, it was a snow blizzard here in Wisconsin. And my driveway at the time was fucking packed full of snow. And we had to record in like 2 hours. I'm like, bro, this episode gonna have to drop like tomorrow or some shit. Yeah. He said, nah, bro, I'm on the way. I'm finna dig you out. And I thought I had an out in my mind. I was like, fuck, man. But ever since then, I take my hat off to him because he's the constant fuel that's keeping this car going. Because I know at work I'm not able to post and be on social media like that, especially with this job I'm trying to get. So I definitely take my hat off to him for just keeping the consistency going and not letting the fire burn down. Like, it's damn near like the NWA movie. I'm Eazy-E and he Dr. Dre now. I'm like just supporting from afar when I can.
Seth be on it with the social media shit.
Dog, and it's tough, dog. Like, I'm relentless. I try to be as like up to date as possible and just keeping a presence. I realize how important it is. Every person I talk to that deals with like media and marketing, social media, and how important it is just to be able to take that to sponsors. They don't really care about a lot of shit except for what your numbers look like. Yeah. What your Instagram followers look like. How is your reach on Facebook? What do you do with that? That's why I like going on our Facebook Live, man. I think that's been a key for us giving that opportunity to talk back to people who listen. Nice. I love when people are live. I love interacting with people. You know what I'm saying? Like, they talk back. They be like into the conversation. I know a lot of it goes sexual and a lot of shit is weird, but what you don't like, what I think a lot of people, what I'm understanding about a lot of people is people need an outlet to talk about. And they want to have these conversations. Right. Sometimes it just takes somebody else to kick the door down.
Yeah. So I will say that you guys were the first people I saw personally who actually did the live feed, especially like during your shows on Sunday. And I've seen other podcasters do it too. Just for example, Two Reels in a Pod from Live Woke.
They were doing their whole episode live. I talked to them. Rio. Like I said, shout out to Kappa Rio.
Shout out to my line brother,
Kappa Rio. If this wasn't your frat brother, I would have had a smooth joke for you.
But
I'm gonna let you know.
Not on my show. You can leave.
Like I said, me and Kappa Rio had a lot of conversations. He called me and asked me some things, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, I wasn't nobody, you know what I'm saying? But he took notice of what we were doing and had questions. I mean, like, I'm not the type of person to be like, no, that's hard. I gave him all the game I could. I don't know if it worked for him or not, but I'm never going to turn somebody away or try to little man nobody or little bro somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that just reminded me of our conversation before.
I'm not finna sun nobody. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh no. Like, I legit will help anybody. You know what I'm saying? So it's all, like I said, for me, interaction is everything. I love when people talk back. I love the comments. Like, feedback. Even if you don't like something, tell me. I can deal with criticism. I can't deal with hate. Right. Like, if you hating, if you ain't got a reason, then you hate. But if you legit got a criticism, like some people said, it was a little too graphic, a little too sexual for them. I respect that. But I mean, the majority people want to talk about that. People need that opening. Like, how many people want to talk about sex on a daily but can't have these conversations? Right. But then they listen to our pod or get into our live and are able to talk freely without judgment. That's what I want.
Awesome. All right, so going on the opposite, what has been your biggest come up of Sweats and Suits?
Come up?
I think it's just the networking. Just from the short time we done started out, we done ran across some amazing people. Even when we've been going to places or even being invited to places, like we got invited down to Memorial Day weekend to the Drunken Nights. Unfortunately, we wasn't able to make it, but that was still a good look.
Oh yeah, they had to cancel. But I mean, they've told us multiple times. Come to Indy. Yeah. Like, it's 4 podcasts. If me and him go to Indianapolis right now, we probably got to do like damn near a promo run to like 4 different podcasts because of the relationships we built.
Shit, even in Minnesota when we was out there, we
went to Minnesota on just a regular trip and just linked up with a pod just to talk, and just to make that connection, man. Like I said, I think to basically with Eric, I'm with him on that. It's the network. It's That's been the biggest come up to me is the people I got to know first and the connections I made. Like monetary things and things that people have showed us love on, that's dope too, but nothing means more than the connection.
I don't know about him, but my top bar done went.
My nigga.
Hey, I'm thoughtless. I
just know the pool house is like.
While Seth has that wedding ring on.
I'm thoughtless. They don't exist to me. Send your news to the Sweats and Suits podcast.
To the suits.
Yeah, to the suits. But I'm saying send it to sweatsandsuits@gmail.com for him.
Letter N.
He's like, Courtney, I'm not looking at it, Courtney. I swear.
Not at all.
Not at all. Like, Seth is out. Seth is not out here.
No.
Eric is. So send it to Eric.
Yes.
All right. So next question: where do you guys see yourself in the next 5 years?
Selling out shows in the arenas.
That'd be dope for some live shows, should it?
I think
we got live shows coming, more live shows.
I think we just so down to earth to the point where you can ask us to do anything. If we got time to do it, we're gonna take it out and do it. Like no matter what kind of platform, you know, God bless us, we gonna be where we want to be. But if you want us to come back and do stuff like this, or you want to come host a birthday party, anything,
I don't care how big we get. Like, and I feel like we're going places. Like, that's just my feeling. I'll never forget him.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I'll never turn you down. I'll never turn down anybody in the city because this is where I'm from. If we make it, why can't I help everybody make it?
Absolutely.
Why can't I bring you on the show when we big? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I can have you on the show when we doing 400, 500 listens, I should be able to have you on the show when we doing 10,000, 11,000 listens.
Yes.
Same thing. I see big things.
Yeah, I see it for you guys too. So, like you guys are making major moves in Milwaukee, and
more to come.
I know if you guys probably don't hear it a lot, but the city is proud of you. Like I'm glad that you guys were able to come here. So
wow, that's dope. I mean, it's everybody knows Milwaukee you gonna always have your fair share of dislikes, you know, and people who don't fuck with it, and I'm okay with that. You know, just don't hate on it. You got no reason to hate. If you don't like it, you don't like it. Like if I don't like something, I'm not gonna speak on it. Yeah. There's no point. I'm not gonna tell the next person not to like it.
Right.
I just don't fuck with it. It's just for me. You know, it's not for me. So I think in that sense, 5 years, we'll be out of here.
That's what I like to hear. What can the community do to help you guys out?
Just listen. Listen, support.
And look, we not asking y'all to do anything extravagant. We just telling you to do what you already do with this thing here. Take your thumb and do that.
Oh, that's
click on the link.
Facts.
That's all we ask you to do.
I mean,
it's easy to subscribe to them too.
It's everywhere. iTunes, Google Play,
Spreaker,
SoundCloud, Spreaker,
Urban Mobile Life.
UrbanMobileLife.com. You can find us at FM.com. Like I just typed our podcast in. We on some damn sites I didn't even know we was on. Shit, people just picking us up. Like real shit, it's weird as a bitch. But as far as the community go, like anything we'll ask y'all to do is free. Unless y'all wanna buy a shirt or buy merchandise.
And also, just feedback.
Good, please,
good, bad, and ugly. We take
one it all.
I mean, I got skin like a walrus. I got thick skin.
As you can see, these guys are hilarious too. But like these podcasts, they talk about certain like different situations, but they are all hilarious. Like it's an enjoyable listen. So
I mean, we even try to take the more serious topics and bring humor to them. Like we had a run about
like the last 3 to 4 episodes of more serious tone.
I mean, only because like, you know, it was times for serious conversations. Like with the Father's Day episode, you know, we just talked about how, you know, Mahogany released the Father's Day card for mothers. Like, you know, that was kind of a touchy thing for me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, I would never give my mother a Father's
Day card. That's not your day.
And
like,
I mean,
even if
we had Randa Tandem on the episode too, like, and they agreed. You know, those are 2 women. You know, and I think Sam was talking about she did it once. Like, she got that for her mom, and her mom was like, "No, don't do that."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it was kind of like, you know, even the serious topics, and it was still funny. You know, I mean, you got to be able to go deep and still be able to bring level of entertainment.
Yeah, I think my favorite episode to this point is the gym school episode.
Oh,
we're talking about entrepreneurship.
Yeah, with Rod.
And I'm starting to see that starting to become more of a trend now, which is good. Because we're starting to work more for ourselves instead of for other people, which we established ourselves in the early 1900s anyway. So I'm glad we're starting to break away from our parents' generation of what their American dream is as far as like going to college and working for somebody else. Instead of going to college and putting that knowledge towards actually doing something for yourself to reap the benefits for. So if I haven't heard the gym school episode, definitely go take a listen to that.
Yeah, that was pretty dope. Like, I enjoyed a lot of our episodes. I think my favorite one is probably outside of This Is Us, which is episode 16 that we talked about earlier.
I'm going to be non-violent.
No, I mean, outside of that one, if I had to pick one, it was probably more so one of our earlier episodes that really didn't get as many listens.
Brown Nose.
The Brown Nose episode.
No, we thought that was our best
episode. To this day, that is our lowest listened episode. It's weird.
We like, nigga, we nailed that one.
Like, I thought it was a really good episode. I still love it. You know what I'm saying? Because I thought we discussed it very well. But, you know, you never know what people want to hear.
Right.
So, you know, we got some that turned out really good. We had an episode with Weed from Egos and Opinions that did really good. You know, it was a 2.5-hour episode.
Shit.
And people listen. Right? You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
worried.
Right.
Let's break that up into 2.
Nah, we just let it ride. We don't do edits, by the way. So if you ever come on the show and you say some shit, you better live with what you say.
What advice do you guys have for those out there who want to be like you, want to go out there and do dope shit?
That's a dope ass question to begin with. I would say, first of all, just stay humble. No, you're not gonna know everything to start out with, but that's where you have your pot and family, so to speak, to lean on, to ask different questions, to ask for advice, to have them do like a listening session. Like, you like this? What you feel about that? How can we do something different? And just reach out. More important thing, reach out. That's what I got. And be yourself. Don't be a character that somebody can actually relate to, because outside of that, they meet you in real life, you're going to see a total 180. So
yeah, man. Well, I don't like
be yourself.
I don't like people who follow me on Facebook, but like, not shit in person. Like, irritates me. Like, nah, like, you see like people who got hella jokes on Facebook, funny as hell, and you meet them in person and they like conversation is dry. And it's like, all right, fam.
I was like, how you gonna have a lackluster ass personality?
Right. If I had to give advice, consistency. Be consistent. You know, if you're gonna do it weekly, make sure you're there weekly. Be something that the people can count on. If you're gonna be, if you're gonna be funny, if you're gonna be, exciting, be you. Always be consistent. Just be consistent with you. Never, don't let people down with what they look forward to. Like, people look forward to us every week. I hate to miss a week. We haven't missed a week since we started. Like, if it was some wood, I'd knock on it. But
I don't know.
I would say, like I said, basically just be consistent. Whatever you're gonna do, be consistent with it. And that's what I would tell people. Just don't think that you're gonna come in and be able to drop an episode this week, and then 4 weeks later you want to drop another one, and then 3 weeks after that you decide to think that people just gonna fuck with you. Like, the people attention spans are short nowadays. You gotta stay in their face.
Right.
So that's the main thing.
Okay.
Like, you're consistent. I'm like,
yeah. I try shit.
This man is consistent. Like, since he started, I've been seeing shit every week. I'm like, I gotta get on there.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm here, but these lights, dog, like, bruh.
I was like, you guys have to be presentable. Like, here's all the lights that are doing.
I thought we was gonna be on some headphone shit. And we just talking, so I came like this. I don't know, on the camera, I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, bro, I'm just trying to stay, dry. These lights. For future do dope shit guests.
But no, man, I just want to appreciate you just for reaching out and having a song and for shining the light on us, literally and figuratively.
Right.
Like, I appreciate you guys so much for taking the time out to actually be on here, especially the day before 4th of July. So,
for sure, man.
Yes.
Happy 4th. Sweats and Suits.
Oh yeah, man.
Oh yeah, man. Sweats, the letter N, Suits. Podcast on IG. Sweats the letter N Suits at Gmail if you want to send us an email and ask questions to be on the show. Sweats the letter N Suits Pod on Twitter. And hit us up, we're around.
So thank you guys so much for joining us, and we will see you next week.
Do dope shit. Do dope shit, bitch.
Yeah.
Bitch, do dope shit.